Yo, thank you for clicking and watching this video. Hopefully you enjoy this segment. If you want to stay up to date with all the releases and videos, make sure you subscribe to the channel. As well, hit the notification bell so you always get alerted whenever we're dropping something new. Until then, enjoy the rest of the video. Thanks again. The narrative around Jaylen Brown has gotten so nasty to where I feel like Brad Stevens, people within the Celtics organization, are literally changing the narrative to attack his character to justify the trade. Yeah. He was traded, obviously, to Philadelphia for Paul George. What do you think about, and some picks, what do you think about that trade and all of a sudden the character bashing and just a smear campaign on a guy who's done nothing wrong?
He's going to go back to the Stephen A. Smith stuff because he swears up and down that nobody doesn't hate Jaylen Brown. Just for like the next week, people are just killing him. Yeah. But okay, the correct answer to give is that they really and truly had no other choice but to trade JB unless they were willing to pay him. Like that was it. He was owed for an extension. If they didn't trade him at this point, his value would have continued to go down, and it really wasn't that high anyway. And I think in pursuit of trying to trade him, no. I'm not saying this. This is the logical reason why they did it. I'm not saying it's the right. I'm just saying this is why they logically did it.
You're right, and I don't want to cut you off, but you said something very important to me that really struck my nerve. His value went down. Mm-hmm. Why did his value go down?
No, I'm saying his value would have kept going down because he would have had fewer years left on his contract.
Yeah.
So then it would have been like, instead of us having JB for 2 or 3 years and he potentially walks, we would have been trading him for potentially a 1-year rental. That's what I mean. Now, going back to the other side, I do think that there was a push for a bunch of information that really and truly didn't even need to get out.
Yeah.
Like some of the stuff that it was being said, it was like, what does this do to further the conversation at all? Rather than to, I think, and I not even think I noticed for a fact that certain general managers and people who are in some form of power, they will like convey information to certain people because they know that these people will say the thing that they're trying to say and want to get out there. And some of these people are so, I don't even say they're hungry for attention, but it's just their job to like relay information. And so now you have potentially an organization that their fan base or a bunch of people may want them to trade for Jaylen Brown, but they needed to be known out there that, well, they're asking for too many picks. Or they want to get data. Like, for example, we wanted Jaylen Brown potentially in Milwaukee, but they weren't willing to give up Hugo Gonzalez. So that's the like now we got now we got to sit here and put that out there to try to justify why we didn't do a trade. So that's the much bigger problem. But some of that stuff is just I don't even understand what the point of even saying some of this stuff is.
It's nasty. And then when you actually sit back and you look and you like, yo, bro, he's done nothing wrong.
Yeah.
He's done nothing wrong. If you got a problem with a grown man being on Twitch after a game, that's on you, bro. Like, being on Twitch is a lot better than the reality of what a lot of guys with a lot of money and a lot of power does on their free time. He's in a house, controlled environment. He's not doing anything, breaking any contracts. Yes, he's a very smart guy, maybe outspoken at times, but it's not a direct conflict. My problem is, and where I saw with Jaylen Brown, it's like, yo, bro, I never cheated the game. I'm the Eastern Conference Finals MVP. I'm the Finals MVP. When they said that we were done and we were washed, we didn't have a chance, we were one of the best teams in the NBA and at the top of the East. I love JT. He's one of my favorite players. But reality is like, okay, cool. Everybody's saying, hey, they can't have both. They had to choose. I didn't just get off of an injury. Yeah. Right? I'm good. I'm one of the most dependable two-way players in the NBA. I'm not the one that just came off of being hurt.
I agree.
Why is it me that got to get tossed? The obvious reason is, well, he's more quiet. But at this point, I thought it was about the game. Is it not about the game? I feel like it's starting to peel back layers. And the more we start to dig into layers, Brad Stevens had a comment where he was just like, he spoke publicly about the reason why he made a decision. And a lot of people don't understand, like, okay, cool, they can't pay everybody, right? Yeah. He said that the reason why he had to get rid of him because he can't have two players taking up 70% of the salary cap. Paul George making $50 million. So you still got two people taking up the same amount of salary cap. He get 50 a year.
But he talking about when he going to get 70 because there's going to be a year where JB gets 70.
True. But my thing is, PG is coming in, getting the same 50 that this nigga was getting. So the same money on the books is on the books. I think you could at least got a little bit more out of it before you got him out of there because you got to make the money make sense when you make a trade.
Because
he never asked to be traded.
No. Okay, I will say this: they should have went at least one more year before they trade him because you have no idea what's about to happen this year, especially with Tatum. You asking him to come off of what could be a career-altering injury to go out there and go carry an offense in ways in which he's just genuinely speaking has never had to do his entire career. I think that is crazy, and I also think you could have gotten more value out of Brown in a trade, watching him go out there and compete potentially at another high level with someone like Tatum for an entire year. So I agree. I think they should have waited one more year if they were going to pull the trigger. But at the end of the day, like they had to. I hear what you're saying about like the Paul George contract is also crazy.
Yeah.
But after the 2 years, he's up. They're not going to sign him back. They're going to try to make space for somebody else.
I don't think we've ever seen somebody get blackballed before in the league. Maybe I think the first time we seen something like that was the Isaiah Thomas Dream Team thing. I won't say he was blackballed, but Jordan was like, "Yo, you get him, I'm out."
We've seen it. We've seen it a couple times.
What other situations can you think of? Because I couldn't think of it. Yes.
Yeah, he got blackballed. To be fair,
yeah, it's just the idea that Jaylen Brown don't make Team USA, but you got Derek White on the team. You got guys like, right? You got Drew Holiday. I know it's about pieces, it's about fit, but it's unexcusable, gang. It's unexcusable that he's just out there.
Would it have been better if he was just sitting on the bench?
He wouldn't have been.
He would have been, man.
You think? I mean, Jason Tatum didn't play that well. He barely played. Tyrese Halliburton barely played. But it's just like
he would have been on the bench.
But Derek White was playing.
He barely played too. They had so many wings.
Drew Holiday was. I just don't like the fact that it didn't. I don't think he would have been on the bench. Me personally, I don't.
They had Devin Booker, KD, and LeBron,
and Ant. Yeah.
How many more wings that you? Because they had.
Like I said, I'm naming 2 wings though. I'm naming. There's no way you could.
But Tatum barely played though. Tatum barely played. Hallie didn't play. Derek White and Drew, they may have played occasionally.
They did
to get back up for Curry, but for the most part, but it would have. Me personally, I think it would have been worse if they had JB out there and he was only playing like 5 minutes. Because the whole thing with Tatum was like, why ain't Tatum playing? But there was a reason why Tatum wasn't playing. He wasn't making no shots.
Yeah, facts. But that's why I said, like, you can't convince me that you got Derek White and Drew Holiday on a Team USA team representing the United States of America and not have JB. If he don't play, he don't play. The nigga need a jersey. He need to be on the team, bro. It's unexcusable.
But they did it for defense and shooting.
He's a two-way play. This is not. I'm not talking about.
Though. They're better defenders.
Maybe they are better.
Yeah,
but what you're gaining offensively and what you're still getting defensively, you can't tell me that doesn't weigh out. He's not a liability. He's going to play defense.
He's not a liability, but he's not as good of a shooter as they are, though. He is 3-point shooter. If I need 3-and-D players, I'm going to go with Derek White and Drew Holiday over you. Especially when we have more than enough offense. I'm out there with Curry, KD, LeBron, and Embiid, Booker. Like, Embiid was playing so bad, they said, you need to sit in the front of the
Literally.
That's what, so I hear what you're saying.
Nah, bro. Nah. Because I don't think.
In my opinion, I think he should have had Hallie's spot. There was no, because they had enough guard play.
Yeah.
I don't know why Hallie was out there. Hallie to me didn't make no sense.
It's just small things like that, and then you get stuff like this where you hear all these talks and you hear all these different stories, and then I like the fact that Jaylen Brown is, state your source, because I also believe that there are sources in the NBA and people who tell guys like Stephen A. Smith and other media members very important information that they would like to get out. And, of course, you can't expose yourself because you work for the organization. However, I also do believe that when it comes to integrity and being a journalist, a lot of guys do hide behind source and be like, somebody told me.
Yeah.
But it's really how you feel, and you have to agree to that at some point, because you even spoken about the hypocrisies that a guy like Stephen A. would say, like, I never liked him, right? So if you lie to us about that, you'll probably also be like, somebody, because who's going to check you on that? Like, where's the checks and balances of who told you that, right? Like, if you write a column in a newspaper, whoever you work for, they have to verify this before the shit hit the press. Yeah. There is nobody to verify who your source is, and it's very, very believable that if niggas don't like you, they can just say, yeah, somebody very close to him told me that, this, that, and that, and we just take it and go on with it.
But see, I think I agree with what you're saying, but I think the bigger picture was, I think teams are trying to get information out to justify why we're not trading for him, why we're not giving up draft capital, why we're not pursuing him to that extent, and it's because analytically, whatever.
Yeah.
But to me, I'm gonna be honest with you. Everything to me is almost excusable. But when people try to say what he said on that Twitch stream is the reason why, or that to me.
You feel me?
I'm like, bro, there's so many things that happen on and off a basketball court, in the locker room, all this other stuff. Like Colin Cowherd going, this to me is when I was like, you lost it.
Yeah.
Colin Cowherd saying that he was a disease and what he had said on Twitch, I'm like, bro, we're dragging it. We all know there's certain things that happen that are far worse than what someone says on a Twitch stream. And what makes it, and this is where I even look at media, bro, like Colin Cowherd talking about something is a disease or not. Brother, in your own makeup room, what happened over there in Fox?
Facts.
You talking about what happened on a Twitch stream, what happens behind the scene on your network.
Yeah.
And that you ain't saying nothing about it. So you think that's a disease. The stuff that we done learned about some of the people that you work with is a disease. And none of y'all not saying nothing until something comes out. So my issue is everybody's acting as if like the stuff that he said on Twitch is like the worst thing. I'm like, brother, y'all work for companies where there's things that happen behind the scenes that are far worse than that man saying, this was my favorite year.
Literally.
Trust me, it's not that big of a deal. Y'all are buying into nonsense to try to justify trading him because that's nowhere near close enough of a good enough excuse to trade Jaylen Brown right now. It's not. Just say you don't want to pay him and keep it pushing.
The Orlando Magic got more for Desmond Bane than the Boston Celtics got for Jaylen Brown. It just don't make sense. And then we gonna get off the subject, but then when they say things like, "Oh, well, if your value isn't high, you go and try to get somebody. You go and try to get a Hall of Famer if the value isn't there." But it goes back to me saying the diminishing of the value came from people in the Celtics organization coming up with crazy narratives about this man. So you can't help in the teardown of this man's value and then blame that same value to why you couldn't get anything. Shut up. Yeah. Don't say anything.
That's true.
Like, that's period. Is this, I'm going to ask you straight up, will this trade go down as the worst trade in NBA history and take over the Luka Anthony Davis trade?
Not even close. The Luka one is bad because AD played. We can probably count on our hands how many games AD.
That first game he was killing too before he messed up. Yeah, he had like 30 and 15 and a half, bro.
Like, bro, they went through the whole AD experience.
He was killing, bro.
Crazy, dominant on both ends.
Bro.
Him roaming
like
around
4
with
blocks in the first half.
I was like, bro, this is crazy right here. And then he got hurt. It wasn't the exact same. And I was like, damn, bro, they saw the full AD experience, bro. To me, that's the worst one. That to me is the worst. You lost a generational player for basically a first-round pick in Max Christie.
But you don't think trading away a guy who averaged 29 points,
that's worse.
fourth to MVP voting,
that's worse, bro.
Finals MVP.
They got more draft picks out of it.
Yeah, they got a lot of draft picks. You're right.
Yeah. Come on, they got more draft picks out of that than they got at 80. Like, that's a bad trade. That's probably going to go down as the worst trade ever.
Yeah,
either that one or the Shea and Paul George trade.
That one was crazy too.
Those two are much worse.
Yeah, that Shea Paul George trade was a little crazy.